Hey everyone, I'm Brian. You're watching the Build a Place channel. In this video, I want to be demonstrating the methods I use to create this 6-inch wide board effect using aluminum trim metal. You can get this trim metal in probably 50 different colors. So you can match it to whatever you want. We decided to use this clay color. We've had a picture for several years hung on the refrigerator of this kind of effect on the window area. Originally we had shutters, fiberglass or vinyl, I guess vinyl shutters for years. They faded. They had nothing but problems with trying to keep them on the wall. We got mud divers and bees making nests behind them. So during this project we decided we're going to get rid of the shutters altogether and go with a 6-inch wide board effect. And so I'm going to go into all those details on how I came up with the design, how we implemented and installed these trim pieces around the window. So let's get started on this project. I've been sitting down, spending a little bit of time coming up with what's going to be my model. This is my basically my final model of the pieces. Then I'll be making templates based on that. So this is a 2-piece in this be the top left corner of the window. So that's where it would all fit together, these 2 pieces. Here's my sketches I was working on. Let me get this lined up. These are the sketches I was working on, and this is my first iteration of the sketch, just kind of showing the profile view of the trim that I'm going to be putting. It's going to be 6 inches wide, so it basically looks like a 1x6 trim board that goes all around the windows. And so I'm going to start making actual templates because I'm going to have everything cut. I have everything cut all exact size, so when I bend it up, I won't be doing any additional cutting. So unlike if I was going to do this with a piece of J-channel, which I've done J-channel, well, let me rephrase this. I'm going to do it just like I do J-channel, but it's just going to be 6 inches wide instead of a basically 1-inch J-channel. So except it's so wide that it wouldn't have a reverse like it would normally have for a J-channel like this. So this edge is going to have to be locked in against the window. And so I'm going to start making the patterns up for cutting, and then we'll start bending these pieces up and see how that goes. Stick with me. This is something I haven't done I haven't cut any really trim or bent any trim in probably about 3 years now. And I've never pre-cut everything before making the bends. Usually I make everything bend up to like a stock, and then I mark and cut it after. But I think it's going to come out better by having everything pre-cut. So you won't be sitting there trying to shear off those edges, and it's just going to work better, I think. So I'm going to get started on making my patterns. And to make the trim around the windows, basically I'm only going to need 2 different patterns, but based on the orientation, like if this is the left side board, these 2 are the patterns that I'll use to lay it out. I didn't make it to the length. I'm just going to cut the material, and then I'll just set this at the end of the sheet. And then if you're doing the right side boards, you just line those up, make sure that both says right, and this is the finished side is up. I set up a place here in the shop to be able to do the cutting and marking and bending. So this is my area where I'm going to be cutting the material to the length. And then I'll be taking it over to the J-brake to rip it down the center long ways. So get started. So I have tape measure. The first piece I'm going to make is for the bottom and top. It's going to be 49 3/4 inches long. Just put a mark there. Square this off. Just makes it nice to have a table where you can cut, do the layout. So you have place to work. Let's up a little bit of gap here. Cut this to the length. So this will be the bottom and top of our trim right in the window. And we'll take this over to the break, and then we'll rip that long ways. But while I'm here, let's see. I'm going to set this in the break and we can make the cut. I'm going to step in there for now. I want to make my other cut for the sides, two sides. That is 76 3/4. Bring it out to the edge here so I can make sure I'm square to the edge. It's square. Makes it easy when you bring it up to this edge. I don't have that much here, so this will be the. We're going to build one frame up, and we're going to go to the window. We're going to have to make sure it's right. All four of the windows are the same size. So the first one works perfect, and the other one should fit right in with no issues. Okay, for this, we want these to be 12 inches wide. Bring this out to 12. Successive approximation is how I usually do this. Seems like you're on one side, the other side you can mark it too with a pencil or whatever, but I do it both ways. Clamp that down, make sure it's still at 12. Keep double checking myself, double checking. Take a utility knife. Do it a couple times across the length. Break it. Put this over. Put this first plug over here. Out of the way. They're going to eventually go to the layout table. Let's go here for now. Out of the way. We're going to do the same thing with the longer piece. Set it in the break. Clamp it down a little bit. Do my successive approximation on getting it to the 12 inches wide. Or the width. Should be 12 inches in the middle, 12 inches on both sides. I got 12 inches locked down. Cutter. Score it a couple times. Put these back on the cutting table because there's room there now. Okay, I'm going to start laying out one of the sideboards. So I made templates up that you could just trace for the different configurations of the trim. So I'm going to make the right, I'll make the right side board So I have this pattern will go here and trace this edge, and then this pattern will go on this end and trace to that piece there. So we'll start off up here, getting this traced out. These patterns make it nice because there's two patterns basically that does everything. So you don't have to have all these patterns and everything. It's just two, and I put the nomenclature on the top to tell you how the configuration is to work. So this edge is marked, and since this is the right, I'll put on the edge up here that this is the right, so I'll know when I'm getting the piece, especially when you start making a lot of these at one time. You'll know which is left and right and won't have to try to figure it out. And we'll do the same on this edge here, get this lined up to the edge, square it up, and trace this pattern. Okay, and it's just a matter of getting cutters and cutting out that pattern. Let me do this side first, I guess. Let's cut to the lines, and it should work out perfect. Found my straight cut snips. I took them over here. Uses a weight earlier. Just cut to these lines. This piece here is just going to be a bend-in tab for clearance. I get these two marks here for the edge bend. And I guess I use these straight cut snips. Cutting this tab out, and then it's just notching. These angled notches make it easy when you're on the J-brake to find your point, your bend lines, where your bend lines need to be. So much easier than trying to find a regular pencil line or whatever. So that's why I normally try to make that kind of notched area. Okay, this is the right side. I think I got everything notched out. These pieces scrap out. So this is the right one. I can put this back on the table. And we'll do the same thing. Let's bring this will be the piece I'm setting up over here now. It's going to be, since we're doing just the one window at a time, this will be the left. So this template gets mirrored over to there, and this template gets mirrored over to there. So this will be on that side, and this will be on that end, not side, but end, as it fell off the end as I rolled it over. So we'll do the same thing we did before. This will be the left sideboard or side trim piece. And it's just going to be doing this for all the pieces. So there's nothing exciting. You want this to be left side, so I'm going to square that off. Okay, just cut this out, and we'll keep doing this for, these are the sides. We'll have to do the same thing for the top and bottom. We'll be using the same templates for the top and bottom. I have all the trim pieces made for the first window. The first piece we're going to bend is for the left side of the window. So put that in. I got it marked here on the end, or where the bend is for the first one. It's always the most difficult one to kind of line up because there's so many different marks. And for me, it makes it nice just to have it, just say number 1 on it. Then after that, I can figure it out, I think, after that. But just getting that first one, knowing where that bend line is. First bend's a 90 up. Going to form like a, almost like a J channel. So then we turn this upside down, white side up. This is going to get rolled all the way over and seamed flat. And that's starting to form almost like a channel for each side to go into. And this seemed to work, that worked easy. Open it. And this one I've had trouble with this slipping. Maybe my machine's out of cal or something. So I gotta make sure that this doesn't slip when it's, this finishes up the channel that the siding's going to go into. And I make that just under a 90. That forms that. I don't know which camera can see it. I don't know if either, I guess this camera on the side can see it. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to seam this edge that goes by the window. I'm going to roll this piece all the way over, the first seam. It's a 1/2 inch seam. Roll it all the way over. Take it out and I'm going to close that. It's rolled over. Sometimes this don't want to close. There, closed. Now we're going to bring this around over 90 to the a full bend, whatever the machine is. I think it's probably 90 plus 45, so about 135 or something. So we're going to roll that over to what I would call 135. Bring it out, open it up all the way, swing it around, and we're going to make the final bend that's going to go along the edge of the window. That's a 3/4 inch bend. Just basically going to find our lines on both sides. It's actually kind of flush with the face on the fender. Now I'm going to call this kind of a wedge lock, because that's going to lock between the window and that shim board. Kind of locks the siding in. I'm not sure which camera can see this very well, but this is the left side of the window, going that side of the window. So keep on going and put this over to the side. Let's do a right one next. So we get a full window done. Going in the other way, but that's fine. As long as we get the first bend in the right spot and it's a 90, we're good. This machine has a 14-inch throat, so I can easily put that in that direction without a problem. Knock that down. This one's going to be a 90 up. Pull it out, rotate it around, and go back in the machine with the white side up. Fold this over all the way and close it. Sometimes it closes easier than other times. There, it's closed. And then we want to do the final bend for the channel where the siding is going to go into. We're going to make sure we got this on the line real good, and make sure, as I said before last time, that this doesn't move where it has moved before. Get that on that line. Okay. Just going to keep an eye on it as it goes up. Seems like it's staying there. Just about a 90, a little bit less than 90. That finishes that channel. Put a hem. I guess it's a hem, I guess what you call that, not a seam. It's a hem. Put a hem on this edge. Close that so we want a full bend. Oh, didn't close that end down there. Having a break. We're going to make our wedge lock, what I should call it, wedge lock, I guess. That's what it's going to lock this trim piece into the side of the window. That looks good. This is going to wrap all the way around, but it's not going to be a hem. It's going to be wrapped around. I'm going to break up all the way so we can get this piece in here. Close the break down. Yeah, close it a little bit more than I can see that edge better. Form this up to a 90. That wedge lock will kind of hit the bending leaf. Okay, we got a left and a right. Now that I have these laminated spacers all made up, I'm going to start putting these around the window. I need my spacer. I'm going to space them 7/16 inch away from the window frame. So I'll just go here. So I should start in the bottom. Start on the bottom, space that out. Bring this up to my mark that I made. Well, I'm not ready, as you can see. I have my drill motor in my hand. kind of awkward working by yourself all the time. Okay, about midways, put another screw in, keeping it spaced out, that 7/16 inch from the frame. Nice when you get the screw in, it makes it easy. And I think I'm going to put 6 screws in here. I don't think I need more than 6 screws in the top. Because I'm going right into through the plywood, and there's a header behind there, so it's. I calibrated all made adjustments to the length. I had to snip off a little bit at the length and the width, just a little bit on some of the pieces. Still got it in the clecos holding it together. So take that apart. This will be a matched set basically, along with the other one I just did. They're matched, so I'm going to try to keep them separate from each other. And then I have everything ready for this window. I got my spacers installed, and I got all my trim all cut, and it's already set in place. So the next thing I want to do is apply some glue here and start working on putting the trim around. It's not an easy job to do by yourself. It'd be best if I had just someone to help hold things, but I have a technique that I use that kind of holds it a little bit till I get everything pushed in. That this wedge piece is going to go right in here, and the friction of that wedge is going to help hold that piece up in tight against this spacer. So let's get started on putting these panels on. First thing I want to do is apply some construction adhesive, liberal amount of construction adhesive to these spacers. Kind of a serpentine or swirling kind of side-to-side motion. This piece here, gotta get. Okay, the first thing I need to do is put the top piece on. So, set my stapler. I'll just use. I think they're like better than I think they're 1/2 inch staples. Can't really be sure. I'm gonna bring it out over here. I'll down myself in here. I'm gonna set this piece where the mitered edge comes ends right at the end of the window. Just push a little pressure on it. Should have brought the. Let me get the stapler. I gotta have a stapler to do this right. Back up on the ladder. Do that same alignment again. And I'm just going to put one staple right in the middle at the top. That'll hold that piece from going anywhere. Okay, then this is the wrong side. Pick up the left side. I need the right side piece. That goes up into that hole there, and underneath the miter area goes all the way front ladder a little bit. It would be so much easier if you had one person helping on this. Go back and get my staple. I'm just going to put one staple in the very top corner. That way if something's not right, I can always come back and fix it. Okay, now for the left side. See where a second person would be so helpful right now. This time I'll hand you the stapler. It'd be a nice thing to have. Okay, that's in. I'll put a staple in the top. Oh, I gotta get some more. I need more hose. That should be enough now. All the way up as high as it goes. Put a staple in there. Now work on this bottom section. Pieces have to go in. Lock in that bottom miter. I'm just going to push it in a little bit. I'm going to put, should look pretty good. I'm going to put one staple at the very bottom, just right on the edge, just in case. Putting a staple just in case, because that's easy to break off. Just take the ball of your hammer, and you can break that free. A lot of times once I get it all together, I break this free. You don't look right. That's right. I'm just gonna push it in a little bit, but then I gotta use a piece of wood. So I got this piece of OSB plywood. I'm gonna start working my way around. Try to do it slowly, working around and get this stuff down into that groove area without going too fast. Go too fast, you start bending the metal. So just work your way around slowly. As you see, I'm kind of taking my time going around this perimeter. Keep moving the ladder. The ladder's always in the way. You see that wedge is locking this panel in, or these panels. You may or may not be able to see it's springing back as I'm tapping until I get it all the way in, and then it doesn't spring anymore. I'm just going to try to spread the glue by lightly tapping on this. Over top. I don't know if you can see it. Now that I got this piece set in, there's a bump up right there. So all I'm going to do is take the claw hammer, I'm going to pop that piece out, and then I'm going to staple the top thing in. It's not going to come out. Those staples are basically there just to hold it until I got it in to this point. and it's pretty well in here. So remember, not the best at caulking right now, so I'm trying to practice a little bit. But this edge, I'm going to caulk it with some caulking. So that'll be once I get a little more practice with that caulking gun. But now what I'm going to do is go around, start in the middle here. I'm going to put staples all the way around. That was in the way again. Alright, one in the top, I'll start in the middle, work my way out. This one at the top didn't get a crease on that, so I'll leave that one in there. Start up high. In the middle, I'm bound to be running out of staples here. Let's let it come over here, it's way down. Had enough staples. That window's all trimmed out. It's on the next window, and I just got a door after that, and I'll have everything all done.